Fears across the country of the U.S. potentially being involved in the conflict between Israel and Iran are growing, as you would imagine. This week online, searches for "Is the U.S. going to war?" have skyrocketed. That's according to Google Trends. TikTok also exploding with videos on the topic, with the hashtag WW3 garnering 500,000 posts. Even though most of these videos, or at least some of them, are in jest, it begs the question, what would World War III look like today? Joining me now is presidential historian at the University of Virginia, Barbara Perry. Barbara, thanks so much for taking the time. These trends can point to a heightened sense of anxiety in the U.S. over a conflict between Israel and Iran, and President Trump trying to decide if the U.S. gets involved in some way. What goes into the decision, President making this kind of decision?
Well, let's take us back to December 6, 1941, right before Pearl Harbor. And what usually goes into this decision making on the part of the president is, first of all, are we up to the fight? And we were very isolationist in the 1930s, and we are isolationist now. I think our preparation for war and our forces are more prepared than they were in 1941. The next issue is, are we being attacked, as we then would be in Pearl Harbor on December 7th, 1941, which sort of makes the decision for us, or let us say after 9/11. So I think right now this president and his advisors are having to decide, if we are not directly attacked, and certainly we hope we are not, but do we do some sort of preemptive strike? And in this instance, do we use the rubber baby bumpers? Do we use the bunker destroying bomb to indicate that we are trying to take out the nuclear capability of Iran, to strike in the Middle East, to strike Israel, and at some point maybe even to strike us?
Barbara, I've been trying to avoid, first of all, bunker buster all day, so I appreciate that. It's not easy.
It's the mother of all tongue twisters.
Right. So the president has said many times he wants to avoid boots on the ground, but a lot of the social media posts are sharing jokes about a draft, so obviously there's some anxiety around that. Do you think we could ever see something like that again?
If we come to World War III, yes, we probably would have to see an active draft. Of course, all males 18 and over in the United States have to sign up for the draft, so we can move to it fairly quickly. It would be very unpopular, as it was during Vietnam, and now we have an all-volunteer force. But if we really were to come to World War III that would involve the Middle East, maybe Ukraine, Russia, and even China and Taiwan, we probably would see an active draft. So I could see why people would be upset about that possibility.
I've talked to many historians who don't like to use the phrase history repeats itself, because it literally can't. However, we can learn from history. So what, if anything, do you think we can learn from wars in the past as we look at this conflict potentially?
One of the things to keep in mind as we entered into the last World War, World War II, at least at the beginning, there were no nuclear weapons involved. So we have to take into consideration that we have weapons of mass destruction now that could literally end the planet. So we have to take that into consideration. What we can learn is that we want leadership. We want leadership of the FDR variety, of the George Marshall, of the Eisenhower and MacArthur variety. And we have to hope that those are in place so that we don't make mistakes as we did in Vietnam, in Iraq, and in Afghanistan.
All right, presidential historian Barbara Perry, thanks for the time and the knowledge. We appreciate it.